Pork is back on the menu, but not this kind of pork, this kind.
I hear so much about earmarks, the old earmark system, how there was a great friendliness when you had earmarks. Maybe all of you should start thinking about going back to a form of earmarks.
And so Congress did, but it's not Republicans, it's Democrats who voted it back for the first time since 2011. An earmark is a provision added to a bill. It designates funding for a specific project in a congressperson's home state. It's often used as a political bargaining chip, like, you fund my project and I'll vote for your bill. Republicans banned it 10 years ago, citing these 3 reasons. 1, to keep spending under control. Earmarks can inflate the cost of a bill. 2, some projects seemed questionable, like $500,000 earmarked for a teapot museum in Sparta, North Carolina. And 3, they said it would help stop corruption. Example, Randy Duke Cunningham. The former congressman was forced to resign, and he spent 7 years in prison for taking $2.5 million in bribes for earmarked projects. Tom Schatz is president of Citizens Against Government Waste, a watchdog group critical of federal tax spending.
Just because the community asks for it doesn't mean that it has merit. In most cases, these would have been projects that were not previously funded because they didn't likely meet the criteria for that particular project.
So if pork really isn't kosher, why bring it back?
One thing it did is it brought everyone together, and this country has to be brought together.
Yes, supporters like Trump say you need earmarks because, like it or not, that's how Congress gets things done.
In our system, the job of a representative is to represent his or her district and to do right by it, because everybody in that district is pumping money into Washington, D.C. And some of that needs to come back.
Supporters also say the ban never actually stopped the pork. It just made the process more secretive. Instead of earmarks going into easy-to-see legislation, lawmakers went directly to the federal agencies now controlling the money to get it. But the new earmarking process is meant to be more transparent and secure this time around. Here's how. Each lawmaker is allowed no more than 10 requests, and they have to post each one on their public website. They also have to demonstrate community support. They need to show that the people back home want the project. It's not just to benefit the lawmaker. The money can only go to nonprofits or to local or state governments. And finally, the lawmaker requesting the funding needs to show that he or she won't benefit financially from the project, and neither will their family. So if you're wondering why my producer sent me out here, it's because farmers clearly mark their pigs' ears to show ownership. Thus, the term earmarking, and the term pork, since legislators mark the money they put into a bill so voters back home know they're bringing back the bacon. And while I keep using the term earmarks, House Democrats are now rebranding them as community project funding, which opponents might say is
putting lipstick on a pig.
What do you think?
So how do you feel about the new version of earmarks? Does the increased transparency make a difference? Let us know in the comments and, of course, vote on our bias meter.